Good morning. I'm Frank Yaksha, Vice President of Annuity Sales at Creative One. Thank you for joining us for a sneak peek into our premier producer showcase. In a few moments, we're going to be streaming live from our offices here in Leawood, Kansas, as our special guest, Stephen Stricklin, President and founder of Wise Wealth, shares key elements to his success with a group of like-minded agents and advisors in attendance here today. This event is a friendly exchange of ideas in a casual atmosphere where agents and advisors' thoughts and questions are discussed. For the next day and a half, Stephen will share his processes and finely tuned strategies that propelled him to the top of his industry. Stephen will delve into how he's grown his practice to more than $15 million in annual annuity sales and more than $50 million in assets under management. Let's join Stephen now, live from our Premier Producer Showcase.
All right, I want to welcome everyone who's watching us live on the webcast today. Thank you for joining us here in Kansas City, Missouri. Appreciate you guys joining us wherever you're at, CNN, Fox News. No, just kidding. I don't think it's on TV, but some people are watching us live on the internet today. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys, and ladies that are here with us today just to talk about simplify your retirement. I was telling this group earlier on this morning that obviously this course came about from a couple different things. One is like 3 years ago, I stumbled across a company that was offering a program like this, which is just a baby boomer retirement course, a financial education course that is taught at a university, that is done over a couple of different days. And it was something that, people paid to take the course. And so I jumped onto that. I found out, this is awesome. This has been working. It fits who I am. And then over the course of a couple of years, went through a couple different training programs like this, and then decided we needed to write our own. And so we wrote this course called Simplify Your Retirement. The name of the course is not by accident, because we feel like there's a lot of people out there that are baby boomers. And again, I want to emphasize the fact that this is not a senior market course. This is not a Gen X course. It is specifically for baby boomers. In fact, on our brochure, which I'll get to later on, we may make it very clear in the course that this is a baby boomer retirement course. We're going after a certain demographic that is there. And so, that's who specifically this course is designed for. So when I was thinking through that age group, thinking through those people, thinking through my own clients, I realized there is a lot of complexity. Some of you guys even mentioned that in the room this morning, that people make it complicated. There's all kinds of stories on the news. There's all kinds of people on the radio selling annuities, some people selling gold, some people selling, you should never do annuities, all these kinds of things that are out there. And what I found is most people don't know what to do. They don't know why they own what they own, and they're not sure exactly what they should be owning, what they should not be owning. Some of them have gone to, seminars and all that kind of stuff. So I just said, we need to call this course Simplify Your Retirement. That's the whole purpose of the class. And so I loved hearing from you guys that are in the room today, just because a lot of you, we've all done the same thing. Most everyone in here has at least done at least one dinner seminar. How many of you guys have done a dinner seminar in your life? All of us have. And so I told you guys that experience a little early on. I literally would go to these things. I'm a certified financial planner. And I would go to these dinner seminars. Some of you mentioned driving, sometimes time zones, hours to get there. And you go there, you're giving up time for your family. I've got a wife and 4 kids at home. And so what I realized after a few years of doing dinner seminars was I was going to a group of people that were there for the most part. A lot of people were there just for the dinner. In my opinion, I felt like they were there to use me, to get something out of me. I had a wife and kids at home that I would rather be doing something with than standing in front of a group of people and paying for their dinner. One thing I want to say that's not even what I planned to say, and that is I decided a long time ago when I was doing these dinner seminars, I remember, I'll never forget leaving one probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I said to myself, I have all these clients, I have millions of dollars in assets under management. I have never spent $5,000 on my own clients. And I keep spending $5,000 on people that do not know me, that don't like me, that are there just to get this information. I said, this is not the way to do this. So one of the things that came about from doing dinner seminars is I said, you know what? I am going to start spending money on my own clients. So I want to ask you guys in this room, when's the last time you spent $5,000, $10,000 to invite your own clients out to an event, tell them that you appreciate them, give them education, ask them to invite someone. So one of the good things about dinner seminars is certainly it led me to start taking care of my own clients better. I said, this is ridiculous. I need to spend money on my own clients, not just on people I don't know. The second thing was, all of you guys know that I used to be a teacher. I used to be a coach. I like education. I felt like, what we're doing for people, and some of you guys mentioned that in the room, is we're helping people. We feel good about what we do. None of us we're not used car salesmen. We're not in sales. We're trying to help people plan for retirement, give them peace of mind. And so I felt very uncomfortable doing dinner seminars, standing in front of a group of people. Like I said, and we've all been trained on how to do this. You have to get there early. You have to work the room. You have to do the small talk. You have to figure out when to bring in the dessert, when to bring in the salad, and all this stuff that goes into this, the exact timing of everything, because you feel like everything has to go just right for them to accept, a free consultation. So you're giving away free advice. And again, I don't know about you all, but when I was standing in front of those dinner seminars, I was giving away information like I'm doing in this course. I felt like it was extremely valuable. We've all paid to be trained. We've all paid to be licensed and all these things. It was valuable information I'm giving away to people. We invited them there, spent thousands of dollars to get them in the room, thousands of dollars, to feed them information, the time that we would spend. And then afterwards, hoping and begging and pleading that they would actually do the courtesy of a free consultation after that. And maybe not even charge them for a plan after that. And I just felt like, this doesn't feel comfortable to me. I know that in seminars, you have to count on X amount of people coming. Half the room is not going to come in to meet with you. That was not the game that I wanted to play anymore. And I just said, at one point in time, this is it. I'm not doing dinner seminars again. That's when I found a couple of these other companies that were doing something like we're doing here with Simplify Retirement. So what is Simplify Retirement? Simplify Retirement, basically, it is a baby boomer retirement course. It is a 2-day, 5-hour course. So what that means is when people sign up to take the course, they're normally signing up I always do it on a Tuesday and a Saturday. So in one mailer, when I mail out, people have the opportunity to come either on 2 Tuesday nights or 2 Saturdays, 2 nights or 2 days. So it'll be on one Tuesday night, followed by the next Tuesday night, or they'll come on Saturday to the following Saturday. So it's 2 days, 5-hour comprehensive course. In that case, people are, when they decide to come to the course, they know they're coming. You're qualifying people for a couple of reasons. One is people are coming because they know they're going to give up time. They're going to give up 2 weeks of their time and 5 hours. So if you just think about that just by itself, you're getting people that are coming because they are serious about doing this. This is not a one-time hit. It is on purpose that it's over 2 weeks. Because if it was just one night, you might find people that are not serious. But people that are coming realize they're giving up 2 weeks of their time, 5 hours of their time. Another thing is with the course, we're qualifying people because we actually charge people to take the course. And the cost is $59. It's $59 for the course, or we always will put a teaser in here like this, that if they register by a certain date, we take $10 off the price. So the majority of people will sign up early by the early bird registration. It's an incentive to sign up early. So people are paying $49 to take the course. They're agreeing to come over 2 days and 5 hours. So in other words, I hope you guys are already starting to see that the people that say they want to do this are people that are serious about wanting to learn about retirement and about planning. In the course, I'll get into a little bit, but we were talking about all the risk that baby boomers face in retirement. We're going to talk about, tax classifications. What is an IRA? What is a Roth IRA? What is a non-qualified account versus a qualified account? You're basically just giving people general information. In the first week, we're going to talk about the different types of products. And we tell them there's 3 types of products. There's bank products, there are insurance products, and there's brokerage products. Sometimes there's variation. There might be gold or real estate that can fit in those, but basically 3 types of products. So the point is the course is designed to be, generic in nature, even though you're covering all these things. It works, I always tell everyone this course works for someone who is an insurance-only agent or someone who is an investment-only advisor, and for someone who does both. In my case, we do both. My firm is a full-service, independent, registered investment advisor firm. I do insurance and I do investments. But honestly, if you were strictly an insurance person, I think you could teach this course and make it work. If you're a person who doesn't do insurance, you only do investments, then I think this course would work. And obviously we do both. So it can be used for anybody. And the reason I say that, and the reason why I wrote the course the way that I did, is because I am full service, and because some of the other courses that I used in the past were designed for insurance only, which again didn't fit who I was. It was designed to make a sale, an index annuity sale or an index universal life sale, which again, I do a lot of that. But that was not what I wanted to stand up and do for 5 hours, sell people on doing this. Because what happened is after those courses, I would teach that course, people would come in and they would want to buy, it worked. They would want to buy an index annuity from me, or they'd want to buy an index universal life insurance policy from me. But that's not what I do. In other words, I am a financial planner. I can't just sell somebody something not knowing the whole picture. So I felt like it was a tough transition for me to go from a course that was designed to sell people something into taking them into, okay, now we need to take a step back. We need to go through a process. We need to have a plan before we determine any of these things. So that's why I wrote the course, because I said it needs to be, generic enough. It needs to give people enough information, but it really leads into the need for a plan. This entire course, if it's selling anything, it's selling the point that everyone needs a plan. Everyone who comes to the class has money. They have assets. They have wealth. But what most people do not have is a plan. That is why they're there. So if there's anything from the moment I walk in the door to teach this course for the 5 hours that we're going to be together, it is the fact that it doesn't matter if you have a financial advisor. It doesn't matter if you've been working with this, with someone else for all these years. It doesn't matter if you have a portfolio, a 401k, an insurance product. It's the fact that you do not have a plan. And financial peace comes from having a plan. That's what you've got to have. So in other words, for everybody in this room, you can do that. So when people get done with the course, they leave the course and they get ready to meet with you. And when they meet with you, what they want is a plan. They're not coming to me because they want, assets under management. They're not coming because they want, an investment insurance product or whatever. Believe me, all of that is a part of it, but they're coming there because they understand the need for a plan. So we emphasize that. So why do I do it? Why do I do Simplify Your Retirement? Literally last year, this year, and most of the year before, this is the only marketing that I have done. So literally what that means is when January 2017 started, I put 4 dates on the calendar, 4 sets of courses in Kansas City, Missouri. I know some of you guys are in rural places. And by the way, Frank can tell you, the people that are in rural areas where this is still working, as long as there is a university or a community college or some sort of classroom, something like that, it will work. But in Kansas City, I actually choose 4 different locations. So when January 2017 happened this year, I chose 4 different dates, 4 different locations. So I only taught 4 classes. So far this year, I've done 3. And obviously you guys in the room today know that I'm doing 1 tonight. So I'm hoping I have a little bit of voice left. Okay. By the time we get done tonight, because I got to talk for 2.5 hours tonight. Okay. And teach this course, but so only 4. As you guys know, I brought on some other advisors here, but me personally, I probably have done $20 million in new business this year. 12 of that, going back to the percentages, 12 of that is in annuities, 8 of that is in assets under management. I can tell you, I have done 3 courses this year. And so far, the business that I've done is only from 2 of those, because I'm just now starting to write business from the 3rd one, which was in September. So all the business I've done last year, I was confident that if I did 4 of these, that it would bring in enough business. And some people are, why do you only do 4 of them? I do 4 of them simply because I'll do a larger mailer. We'll mail out to 10,000, people. I try to get more people at them. We have a large practice of assets under management. So I'm trying to do client education events in there. I'm trying to do client appreciation events. Every year for the past 3 years, I've done 1 major event that takes up a lot of time, effort, and energy. But the whole point of any of those events, by the way, It's always to bring in referrals. It's always to bring in other guests. So I don't do any meeting without the goal of trying to bring in new clients. But as far as public marketing, that's all that I've done. And I'm confident enough in it that it is going to be enough. So again, when I get ready to look at next year's calendar, I'll do 4 or 5, whatever the case may be, of just these courses. So if you want to know why I do it, I always just tell people because it works. Why does it work? It works because it is not sales. It is literally the opposite of sales. I do not go in the room and try to convince people that I am just a wonderful person and that they should work with me. They pick that up over the 5 hours. No, just kidding. But they do realize that because you're giving them education, you're helping them, you're teaching them, you're informing them, and they want to work with you. A lot of times what I realize when I get done teaching them for 5 hours is that some of them have not spent 5 hours with the financial advisor they have. Okay, somebody sold them an investment. They have an investment. They've never spent 5 hours with the person. I've stood up in front of them just like this. I will meet 16 people tonight, sitting in a room just like this that I have never seen before in my life. Okay, and so you can just think about how this works. Over time, at the beginning, it's a little different. You're coming up there, you're teaching, but you build rapport. They're going to ask questions. It's in a small group setting like this. They're ready to learn. They paid, money to come. So the reason why I do it, because it works. It is not sales. It is 100% education. There's no such thing as, working the room. Like I mentioned, more than likely tonight when I get there, it'll be 6:25. We have people, that help me. So the room is set up, the PowerPoint's on. Even the last meeting that I did, one of my advisors that he just hired was there to watch. And he said to me after, halfway, when we took a break halfway through the class, why didn't you go around and meet everybody before the class? I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but you don't have to do that. I didn't come in and shake everyone's hand when I walked in the door. I'm the professor. I'm the teacher. They saw me in the brochure. They're there to learn. I stand up if I can. I'll say hi to people, but we'll start the class. That's what they're expecting. So it's a totally different thing than doing seminars because you're not working the room. You don't have to start with, any sort of, joke to try to get them to buy into you or anything like that. There's no gimmicks. It's huge. I think that people pay to take the course. It is only $49. This is ridiculous. Obviously, this is nothing. But the fact that people are paying money, it just changes the psychology in the room. I would not do it without charging people to take the course because it is your time. And what we've tried to do is just make sure that when they come in and sit down, one of these will be at every seat. In fact, in my class, because I wrote a book, I give them the book too. So that's part of the deal. So they get the book and they get this. So as soon as they sit down and they're waiting for me to get there or waiting for us to start the course, they're looking through, these materials. We've got a workbook. We've got a course book that is extremely nice and the whole presentation is extremely nice. They should feel that before I ever said one word that it was worth $49. Okay? Because of what they got in the course book. So that's the way people feel when they come in and do this. People pay. There is no meal. Last night, my assistant, when she would remind everybody about the course, she called them to make sure they knew where it was. She sent out an email from me. In that email, I told everybody to please dress comfortably and feel free to bring refreshments. Okay? But I will not have cookies there. I will not have cake there. I have no meal there. Okay? The class tonight will go from 6:30 to 9. On Saturday, it goes 9:30 to noon. 9:30 to noon on Saturday, 6:30 to 9. We'll make it very clear. Please, feel free to bring refreshments. We always take a break in the middle of class. So 6:30 to 9 tonight, 7:30, 7:45 or whatever, I will stop and take a break in the middle. I'll let them know that. If there's a vending machine or whatever, I tell them, please go get that. But there is no meal. There's nothing there that they might think I'm trying to, trick them into signing up to do business with me or anything like that. What I have found over the last 3 years is that the people who come to this course would never go to a dinner seminar. Okay, so you're not hitting the same people. Okay, the people that receive the dinner seminar invitation and receive this one, which is different. It says adult education. It says a baby boomer retirement course. None of these things are by accident. Okay, and it says the name of the university on the front of the card that they get in the mail. This is not a dinner seminar. They would never go to one. That's what I have found. The people that will come to this are not people that have gone to 5 different dinner seminars. Sometimes that may happen, but rarely the people that are coming to this are doing that. At the end of the course, I'll jump around here a little bit. What I do at the end of the course is everybody fills out a very simple, evaluation form at the end of the class, at the end of the, the next, second half of the class. Last thing we do, and I tell them, if you want to meet, if you want to have a plan, if you want to have your one-on-one consultation, you'll circle a time on here and people turn this in. One of the biggest differences that I've noticed between this course and a dinner seminar is that people will set an appointment after they leave the class. Okay? Most of you guys know if you do a dinner seminar, when do you need to get them to sign up? That night. Because if they don't sign up while they're eating dessert, it's not happening. So you have to go around and, ask them to sign up for an appointment. But I do not do that. In fact, when I get done teaching the course on the second night, I will tell them to turn that form in to whoever is helping me. They do not turn that in to me. I'm teaching the course. If you want to meet with me after this course, you need to circle a time on there. And I tell my people that, because we put on here morning, afternoon, and early evening. So at the end of the second class, I will tell them what I want you to do is if you want to meet, I need you to either write down the date and time you want to meet or circle the time that you want my assistant to call you. And what that means is if you circle morning, she's going to call you tomorrow morning. And if you circle afternoon, she's going to call you tomorrow afternoon. And if you say early evening, she's going to call you early evening. That's the time that you want her to call to set the appointment. So that's literally, all that we do. People take the course, they do the evaluation form, they set the appointments. And again, this year, 2 courses, $20 million in total assets, $12 million in annuities from that, and some of that's from referrals. But again, as far as the only marketing that I've done, that's it. One thing that I have instituted in the last year or so is, you guys know by now, this is a 2-part course. So what I say to people now when I stand up on the first night, I'll introduce everybody there and I'll say, what I really would like for you to do is to look at this as a 3-part course. The first 2 parts of the course are going to be public. It's going to be in a group setting, but the last part of the course is one-on-one. That's where we can get together and answer your questions. So I want you to know, as you're sitting in here tonight, feel free to ask any questions. I want you to ask questions, but I want you to know that you are not alone following this course. And in fact, it said it in their invitation that the course entitles them to a one-on-one meeting with with the person teaching the course. So it says it in there. So I'll remind them tonight. Remember, don't worry about it. We're going to learn a lot of stuff. A lot of things you've never heard of, a lot of things that may be confusing to you, but we want to simplify your retirement. Just know that at the end of the course next week, we're going to give you the opportunity to sit down one-on-one. So look at this as a 3-part course. After the first class tonight, I will send them an email probably on Friday of this week before next Tuesday, remind them of the homework, because there is homework, in the course, which I'll get to a little bit later on. And I'll remind them that after the class next week, we can set up a time to meet one-on-one. So in other words, I'm putting reminders out there because obviously we are doing this for education, but we're also doing this to gain new clients. So I'm not going to, it is education. I'm also not going to hide the fact that I'm available to them. Okay. The other thing that I have done the last couple of times is I have written on the board like this. So tonight I will do this when I get there. One of the things I'm doing, they're all sitting there. They don't know what's going on. I'll write on the board before I get started and I'll put some dates on the board that I'm available over the next 2 weeks. So what I will say to them when I start the class is I went ahead and wrote down the dates. If you want to meet with me, and of course they don't even know who I am until, 5 hours later, but I tell them, if you want to meet with me, you can go ahead and write these dates down. Those are the dates that I have already made myself available for the people that come to this course. If any of those dates work for you, when you come back next week, you can let us know, but I'm available on those dates. If those dates don't work for you, we will try to make something work, but I specifically made those dates available. And I want everyone in this course to know that the only way that I bring on new clients is for people who take this course and people who give me referrals. In other words, no one can become my client unless they've taken this course or they have come from a referral. So if that's interesting at all to you, if you're interested, those are the dates that will be available. So again, that's just how I do it. That's how I put it out there because it's true. That's the only way I bring on clients. Either you came to the class or you're referred by somebody. So in other words, they're already thinking about it. I've told them it's a 3-part course. I've given them the dates. This last class that I just did in September, we had something happen that's never happened before. I put the dates up there, and I sent out I give people the homework, and literally somebody called between the first session and the second session while they were doing the homework and said, look, we already know we're in trouble. We need help with this. We have got to set an appointment with Stephen for one of those dates. And so they set an appointment in between week 1 and week 2. I can tell you in 3 years it has never happened. Okay. Normally they wait till after the second week, but that particular client just last week, they had probably had $1.4 million. It ended up being about 550 in the income bucket annuities, 650 in the growth bucket, assets under management, 100,000 in the liquid bucket, which you talked about earlier on. So $1.4 million sitting in this course, set the appointment I wasn't even finished with the course yet, between week 1 and week 2, which is huge. I mentioned to you guys before that the last course that I did last month in September, we had 13 buying units, 26 people. A couple of them were single, so maybe 24 to 26 people. I sent out a 10,000 piece mailer. Okay, so I want you guys to think about this, and ladies, think about it. I sent out a 10,000 piece mailer, but I had 13 buying units. Okay, so if you measure marketing based on the number of people that respond, that is the wrong measure. I decided a long time ago, I'm not going to measure the marketing results based on the number of people that respond. That is bogus. Because we talked about earlier about the people in the Social Security room. It doesn't matter. I want the right people in that room. 13 people. So I felt great about this because I also know in the last 3 years that every time I teach a course, there are millions of dollars sitting in front of me in that room. It just happens every time. And so sure enough, the first person I met with from that course, 11 of those 13 people scheduled appointments, and I'm actually still doing them. But we probably have already done over $2 million worth of business from that last class. And again, I'm starting one tonight. Tonight, at this course, I mentioned you guys, I did a 10,000 piece mailer. So let's just talk about 50 cents a mailer, 60 cents a mailer, $5,000 or $6,000. Okay. But I have eight buying units coming tonight, 16 people. But I can tell you without a doubt, I'm excited about this. I know without a doubt in my mind that $6,000 that I spent to get, 16 people in the room, it is going to be worth it. Okay, it really is. It doesn't bother me that I spent $6,000 and I got 16 people. It doesn't bother me that out of a 10,000 piece mailer, 8, I've never even done the math. Okay, I don't know what 8 people out of 10,000, what the response rate, doesn't matter because I know that the 16 people in there, it would never go to a dinner seminar, that the majority of the people don't have a financial advisor, that most of them have at least $500,000 or more to invest, that they paid to be there, that they're giving up 2 hours, 5 hours, 2 weeks of their time. It is going to work out great. So you just have to really, if you're going to go from a dinner seminar mentality to this, you really have to get your mindset off of the numbers. I have done the class with 4 buying units in it. That's probably the smallest I've ever done. If we have a case where on a Tuesday we have, 6 buying units and Saturday we have 1 or 2, actually, Paul, I take that back. I guess we've done one time I did it with 2 buying units. I'll get into that in just a second. But normally if it's that small, I will call those people up and we'll tell them that the course didn't meet the minimum number of people, and I'll try to get them to go to the other one. Or I'll try to get them to say, hey, look, I'll give you a free consultation. We'll give you your money back. We'll give you a consultation. But I don't teach the course with 2 people there or 4 people there. The one time that had 2 buying units, it was actually not too far from here. We invited those 2 people actually to a coffee shop here, and I sat down with them with my iPad, and I did it like that, just so it wasn't awkward, because I'm not going to stand up with 2 people or 4 people in the room. So just something to think about too. But normally I will teach the course. I'll keep the course if we have 4 buying units or more. So I've done that before and got all 4 of them to become clients. I have to emphasize the fact that it needs to be done at a university. Okay, so when I say university, I mean, it needs to say university in the name. It needs to say community college. It needs to say college. It needs to say university. It doesn't work at a, activity center. It doesn't work at a, rec center. It doesn't work at the library. I'm just saying it doesn't work. A lot of people start thinking about, oh, I can do it here, I can do it there. It doesn't work in my office. It works because it's at a university. So in other words, when we send out the mailer, there are some reasons why high net worth people will go. They have to pay for it. It's education and it's at a university. It gives the impression that the university is putting this on. All we did is rent the room. We rented the room at the university. So that's a cost that you have involved. You rent the room and you send out the mailer. The universities don't mind if you put it on there. So whatever. XYZ College. This one that I'm doing tonight is at University of Central Missouri, but it's at the Lee Summit campus. I've done it before at National American University. You guys have heard of National American University, right? Everyone has one probably in their town. Who's that? Nobody. It's like an online, but it says university on there. Okay, Columbia, Phoenix, whatever it is. It's very important to me to tell you if this is going to work. It really needs to be done there. So wherever you live, even if it's a rural area, I'd be finding a university, a college setting, a classroom there, and I would do my mailer from there. In other words, so we will choose a radius around where we're hosting the course, whatever that is. 20-mile radius, 30-mile radius, around wherever the class is, and that's where we invite people to come. Okay, so I mentioned earlier I did 4, okay, this year. So the mailer went to different people every time because I only do a radius around where the class is at. So I think that's important to find a college, a university, not any other sort of, hall or anything like that. I think that's one of the reasons why it works. Let's see. And the other thing I would say here, we can get into some other things and answer questions, but it really leads into what I mentioned to everyone that's here today, into the retirement income planning process. So at the end of the class, I will tell everybody what I told you guys today, and that is if you want to meet with me, the first meeting is going to be about who, what, when, where, why. So you need to know when you leave this course, when you come meet with me, we're going to start the process. I'm going to find out about you, what your income need is. And then in the second meeting is when I'll make recommendations and advice. I think in my practice in general, I always try to tell people first what is going to happen so they know. You just got to get the unknown. If they sit there the whole time thinking you're going to sell it, I always tell them in the first meeting, the goal is we're going to meet again. So after the course, I tell them, in our first meeting together, I want you to know I'm not going to sell you an index annuity. I'm not going to make recommendations on the growth bucket. I'm just going to find out about you, your needs and goals, and then we will go from there. But I will say the course is designed to cause people to, understand, how to do a plan. And again, you guys that are here know this. So this is what we teach them really in the second week of the course about the plan. Okay. And so when people come in to meet with me and they meet with you after the course, they're going to want to know from you, how do their buckets look? What are you going to recommend for them? Liquid income growth. When everyone finishes the course, they should know how to do a retirement income plan without you. Okay, but what they can't do without you is figure out which product is the right one for them based on their age, when they're going to retire, which portfolio to choose from an assets under management standpoint. They should know how to do it. Okay, and the process is very simple. We always tell people, first of all, you have to determine how much income do you need in retirement. What does retirement look like to you? How much income do you need? And we break it down to 2 different things. We tell everybody there's your living expenses and there's your lifestyle expenses. So in this workbook right here that they get, those just fill the blanks. This is what they do for homework. This is what people, when they come in to meet with me after the course, they bring in, and everything that I would ever need to know is inside of here. But I will tell them, we're going to figure out how much income you need in retirement. On here is your living expenses. How much does it take to survive? What has to come in every month, no matter what? Then there's your lifestyle expenses. So what are your expenses in retirement? Number 1. Number 2, how much income do you already have that's guaranteed? How much does Social Security can give you? What is your pension? And we take whatever is guaranteed minus your expenses. And most people have what we call an income gap. So we're teaching them in the course how to solve for the income gap. Here's what you need. Here's what's coming in guaranteed. Here's the gap. It's what we all do every day, right? It's what we do all every day. Now the gap. So we will say to them, Our goal is to figure out, how much of your current assets it's going to take to solve that gap. And we're going to do this based on principles. And one of the reasons, again, I believe the course works is because we are teaching people principles. Principles are no investment decisions outside the context of a plan. The plan determines the products. Don't let your portfolio take a hit. We have to watch out for healthcare, inflation, taxes. Protect the income. Grow the rest. It's all in the course. Financial peace comes from having a plan. Okay? So when you're saying these things to people, they agree with these things. So when they come in, they're waiting for you to make these recommendations. So part of the course. So inside the course book that everybody gets, this can be, customized to you. But we are going to go over, and I have fill in the blanks here. We do this on purpose. So I'll tell them every slide in the course. You don't have to worry about writing everything down because every slide you're going to see tonight is in this course book. Every slide that's going to be up there. But I do have blanks in here. So if there's a blank in their book, that means it's going to be bolded on the screen because I want them to follow along. I want them to pay attention. I also want them not come back the second week. Okay? It's never happened before. Everybody comes back the second week. Okay? But one of the things we do is make sure we have blanks in here so they have to come back to even get the blanks. Okay? That's one of the reasons why we do that. But there's blanks. It fills it so they follow along with this during the course. In week number 1, I'll just give you guys a snapshot of what we cover. So in the first week, it says it right here, the introduction, we're going to talk about the concerns, risks, and challenges that baby boomer retirees face. What is different for baby boomers going to retirement than it was for their parents? And they'll tell me things like, Social Security is stock market's more volatile. We don't have a pension. Social Security, we're concerned about that. People are living, they'll say all the things that we all know. But literally the first hour of the course is about the concerns, risks, and challenges because no one is going to meet with you, okay, unless they know they're in trouble. So I honestly and truly spend the first hour of the course tonight letting everybody know that they are in serious trouble because I don't care if they have a portfolio, a product, a 401k, if they have not addressed the concerns, risks, challenges that baby boomers face, they're in trouble. What are they? Long-term care. Inflation, taxes, Social Security, longevity. These are all the things we're talking about. They're going to be sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, that's why I'm here because I'm concerned about all these things. Yeah, I don't care if you have a financial advisor. Unless you know how each one of your investments is covering every one of these concerns, you don't have a plan. What are you going to do about the average versus the real rate of return? You guys looked at this before? Average versus real. It doesn't. I can show your portfolio over the last 40 years that is average 6. So the average financial advisor in this town is going to show your portfolio, and they're going to say this portfolio is average 6%. You need to withdraw 5. Therefore, you should never run out of money. Can you average 6 and pull out 5 and run out of money in retirement? The answer is yes. Okay, but they have never heard this before. So that's part of what I'm going to teach them tonight. Number 1, number 2, the sequence of the returns. The sequence of returns risk has never mattered in your life. While you're accumulating assets, while you're not drawing income from it, the rate of return, the average rate of return is the same, regardless of the sequence of the returns. But as soon as you start taking money out of your portfolio, the sequence matters. And we've got a handout in the workbook that is powerful in the course that you'll show them. But the point is that their financial advisor, wherever they're going, has never had to worry about. The reason why you've never heard of this is because it's never mattered. At this point, it matters. You can't make a mistake. You could have made a mistake before, but at this stage in your life, you cannot make a mistake with this. Do you all understand what I'm saying, how I'm saying this? This is what I say to them tonight, and they're all sitting there saying, yes, we are in serious trouble. Okay, because that's honestly how I want them to feel. And by the way, they should. They should feel worried about the fact that they have not covered long-term care, that they've not covered longevity risk in their plan, that they've never addressed what would they do if one of them goes to long-term care. What are they going to do if And I always tell them, if you have investments, if you have a portfolio that is not addressed, every one of these can be addressed. And I always tell them next week. Okay, next week we're going to talk about that. But tonight you just need to be aware. And so what I will normally do in the first hour of the course tonight, do this. By then everyone is depressed. everyone is worried, you know what I mean? And I tell them, okay, from this point forward, there is going to be good news. From this point forward, I'm going to show you all how we are going to address all of these things. Take a break, whatever, you know, I'm going to do all this stuff. That's when I take the break, okay? When we come back, then the next section of the course is just generic information, tax classifications, and retirement plans. So I'll talk to them about, you all need to understand what you own. We understand this, okay? Non-qualified versus qualified. Tax deferred that goes to something that's taxable, tax deferred that goes into tax free. So it's all in here. You show them examples of what they mean. So then, because part of your homework, and I'll tell them this all throughout the course when I'm teaching them, I'll tell them, inside of here, you're going to write down all of your assets, and you are going to write down between week number 1 and week number 2. I want to know, is the investment you have qualified or not qualified? I want you to try to do this week, so that way when you come back next week, if you have questions, you can ask me. What type of plan is it? Is it a Roth IRA, an IRA, a 401k? Is it a bank product? Is it an insurance? So they're starting to fill this out and starting to understand what they own. Why is that important? Because we need to see what can be consolidated, what cannot be, what should be used for income and what should not be. All these reasons. So all they know is that they have all these investments. They have no idea, qualified, non-qualified. They want to know which performs better, an IRA or a 401k, which makes more? Which makes more money, an IRA or a Roth IRA? And you have to teach them that I always tell them that's impossible. I mean, those things don't make anything. It's what you own inside of them that matters. An IRA doesn't make anything by itself. A 401k doesn't make, so you're okay, they're learning. And then we talk to them about how you can roll over a 401k to an IRA and not pay tax. And I want to say to all of you in this room, because we all know this so well, I'm telling you, half the people in there still think if they take the money from the 401k and move it to the IRA, they're going to pay tax. So don't fly over this stuff. Make sure they understand. You understand what I'm saying? And I show them, I use an umbrella, a 401k over here, and rain protects us from taxes. And I can move from this umbrella to this umbrella and the sun is shining. There is no tax. And I talked to him in week number 1 about there's such a thing as an age 59 and a half in-service distribution. I will tell you all in this room and everyone here that the majority of the assets that I get, and the reason why I use the age demographic that I do, is that most of the assets I'm getting are people that have money in 401ks that are still working. Everybody got this? Money that's sitting in 401ks and they're still working because they're there because they still think they can't do anything with that money until they leave the employer. But most employers, there's still some that won't, but most of them will now allow you to do in-service distribution rollover from the 401k to an IRA. So again, I'm not selling anything. I'm just telling them that this is possible. And I will say tonight when I teach this class that I'm not telling you to go out this week and do this. I'm just letting you know that this is available. And I'm talking about Roth IRAs, and you can take them and convert, you know what I mean? So we're just teaching them. They're sitting there wondering. And then I get into the different asset classes in investment products. What that means is every investment, I don't care what it is either principal guaranteed or not. So anything that you get that has a statement that has a dollar sign on it, I want you to tell me, is it principal guaranteed or not? So that's part of it we're going to teach them. Then the last thing is, on the first night, is there are 3 basic types of products everybody owns. Bank products, insurance products, brokerage products. I want you to look at the statement and tell me, is that a bank? Is that an insurance? And they're writing all this stuff down, okay? And they're going to hand it to you, okay, when they meet with you. But they're starting to understand what they own. But in the first class tonight, I don't have to go into detail about what a CD is. I'll mention it, and we'll move on. I will mention brokerage accounts, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, turnkey asset management programs, right? TAMPs, where you outsource, because that's what I do. So I make sure they understand that is such a thing. So, but I'll go over that quickly. But then I will tell them what I want to do tonight is go over in detail about 2 insurance products that there's a lot of confusion about, because a lot of people talk about these things, and because it is ideally suited for a lot of the concerns, risks, and challenges that we talked about tonight. So I want to explain what an indexed annuity, but again, I talk about all annuities, fixed, indexed, variable, okay? And I talk about an income rider, and I talk about indexed universal life. I said all that fast to you, but that's what I covered tonight in 2.5 hours. But I do it on purpose. I talk about an indexed annuity with an income rider in Index Universal Life in week number 1 on purpose, because I want them, if they have a question about that, to ask me between week number 1 and week 2, not after week 2 and before they come in. And one of the other reasons why this works, someone mentioned earlier, some people have an aversion to fees, some people have an aversion to annuities, and I understand that. But what happens when you're sitting in a group like this with 16 other people and 7 other couples that look like you, and the teacher is up there talking about index annuities, and no one in the room is saying, hold on here, this is wrong, or I thought these were bad, or no one's questioning it, they realize, okay, maybe there is nothing wrong with this. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be worried about this. No one else is worried about it. Why? That kind of thing. That's what happens. So part of the reason why I think this works is that they're sitting in a group of their peers. Again, they know everyone else paid. No one else argued. No one else said, hey, we should never use an annuity, because, again, there's nothing to argue about, because all I did is explain what it is. What is a fixed annuity, how it works? What is an indexed annuity? What is a variable annuity? Just you need to understand. I'm not telling you this week to go out and buy one. I'm just saying you need to understand what it is. Okay? So that's week number 1. In between week number 1 and week number 2, there's some things that we assign them. When they come back to week number 2, I start with the need for a plan. Here's why you have to have a plan. Those 5 principles I say over and over. We talk about that. We talk about retirement income planning, how to do it. What are the rules? I have 3 buckets. You guys have different buckets, that you use, but in the course I teach them on a liquid bucket, an income bucket, and a growth bucket. What are the rules? How much money should go in the liquid bucket? How much money should go in the income bucket? It depends on your income need and the gap. How much money should go in the growth bucket? What is the rules for the growth bucket? The rules for the growth bucket are the least amount of risk for the rate of return you're trying to get. What are the rules for the income bucket? The least amount of assets to generate the income you need. So you're teaching them, you're telling them how to do this, so that when they come in to meet with me, when they come in to meet with you, they know exactly what you're going to do. The process is faster. People will do business quicker, after they come into the class, because they know you, they trust you, they like you, and they already know what you're going to tell them. You don't have to explain what an index annuity is, what an income rider is. They already know. They sat in the class. It's huge. It's huge. So then we go into, I do have a section on Social Security, because we all know Social Security was a big thing. Everybody, that was the thing you're supposed to do seminars. So it does talk about, we're going to talk about the different Social Security timing, age 62, full retirement, age 70. It's part of the income discussion. It's part of what is in the invite, so people know we're going to talk about Social Security. So we will talk about that in week number 2. We're going to talk about protecting your retirement plan. We have 3 case studies. So we'll go over 3 different couples and what we did. Here's why we did the income bucket. Here's what we did in the growth bucket, so people know. Then we end with choosing a financial planner. What goes into financial planning? There's captive agents. There's independent agents. There's, specialists. There's fiduciary. There's all those things. And you can emphasize what you are with the way that you do business and why you think that's in their best interest. So I end saying there's all kinds of advisors out there. If you ever have a question about the way financial advice works, how advisors get paid, here we are. You can ask me. So if we do insurance products, we get paid a commission from them. If we do assets under management, we charge a fee for, just tell them. They know we get paid some way. There's some of them are wondering about that, so I just tell them there. So there's no surprises when they come in and meet with me. They know exactly what we're going to do. So by the end of the course how to do it, but you can't do it on your own still. And they don't want to. They still know they want someone to make sure they have the right income amount in there. They still want to know how they should cover long-term care. So what we do, again, is we protect the income. I use an annuity with an income rider for the income bucket. In the growth bucket is where we handle, in my firm, if healthcare costs rise, if inflation goes up, or if taxes increase, I handle that in the growth bucket. That's the purpose of the growth bucket. If you need more income later because inflation hits you or taxes, we can take money out of the growth bucket and move it into the income bucket. If you use some of the money, from the liquid bucket for your short-term needs, we can take money out of here and put it in here. So this bucket is designed to fill these other 2. So again, by the time people get done with the course, it's not a dinner. They've learned, they're ready to have a plan. It would be almost impossible, unless they don't have assets, that they would leave the course and say, I'm just going to keep doing asset allocation and diversification. Okay? Which is what most people are telling them to do, which is fine by itself, but that's not a plan. They're there because they want a retirement income plan. So you're selling them on a plan. You're getting the right people in the room. I would expect, tonight, in all honesty, 16 people, 8 buying units, that there will be, 4 millionaires in the room. There just will. There always is. So I want to say to everybody too, when you used to do dinner seminars, I don't know, it might cost $5,000 for the mailer. It might cost $1,000 for the meal. I sit here and I pay $6,000 every time. I only did it 4 times. I cannot imagine. I'm being very serious with you. I mean, as long as you can stand up and speak and talk about the things I just said, that's as complicated as it gets. What I just said to you, it's all generic. That you can't do 6, even 4 of these in a year. That's 24. Just in my case, it's $24,000. I pay $6,000 every time, and maybe a couple $100 to rent the room. We all know. I mean, even if you did $1 million in annuity business, how much you would make. I cannot even possibly. I would not do it. If I did 4 of these and it was only $2 million in annuities, I would not do it. But I'm telling you, you should be able to do that. Even in 4 of them. Even if you did $2 million in annuity business, you need to think about what you would make on $2 million. And I say only spending $24,000. It's not a question. But you have to get out of your mindset that, working the room, sales. We didn't have 50 people there. I mean, none of that stuff. The people that are there are the ones, they're qualified people. That's what we found. Rarely do you have someone, it happens every once in a while, that someone came, took the course, paid $49, and they had no money. But it will not be the normal case. Just think about it. University, paying, time, all these things. You're going to get the people there that need you, that want to work with you. So with that, I will take any questions. But I can tell you guys, it's all that I do. If I felt like I needed to do anything else, the only thing maybe I could do is more. But like I said before, I'm doing these other things. I have other people on my team that will be doing it too. But I also recommend, not only it's at a university, but I also recommend that you do more than one. Certainly over the last 3 years, every once in a while, you're going to have a course where, for whatever reason, it's in all of our marketing happens this way. Sometimes you get one where there's only 1 or 2 people that did business. It wasn't good enough. I think you got to do 2. I would do 4 of them for $24,000. There's no question. I'm doing it. And I would expect $1 million from every class. I would not ever expect anything less than that on annuity business from every class. So questions on that? I have no idea what time it is, but we're fine? Okay. Any questions on that, how we do this?
What are the parameters for your mailing?
Thank you for joining us. This was just a sample of this 2-day session. We're filling spots now for our next event, so don't miss out. Call our team at Creative One to learn more about this unique opportunity and experience Premier Producer Showcase for yourself.